many women that they feel like they have to be strong. They feel like they have to stay in situations that don't serve them. They feel like they have to, they feel like they have to fix everything. When Black women, we carry the burden of always wanting to be the superhero in the family, where we're protecting our spouses, our children, our mental health, and it had a tremendous effect on her even showing up as her true self. Why is it that women, they settle, they stay in situations that don't serve them, and in the end they become another form or a half form of themselves?
I knew that I was going to have to teach my audience or the viewer to unlearn all of those exploitive images and start to see Black women seeing each other. You're still going to step forward in that desire? What does the Black woman sound like when she is experiencing pleasure?
Não precisa reproduzir ou escrever o cinema com os códigos que estão pré-estabelecidos.
We don't need to make movies using the days, language, and codes as we were taught.
Porque se a gente pensa que somos corpos diferentes,
because if we think we are different bodies,
e se a gente entende que a câmera é uma extensão do nosso corpo,
and if we understand that the camera is an extension of our bodies,
nosso corpo e nossa câmera vai se mover diferente.
Our body and our cameras will move differently.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 Black Femme Supremacy Film Festival. This year's theme is Nourishment, the Recipe to Rebirth, and I'm super excited to host the Defining Black post-screening filmmakers panel. I will be bringing up 3 filmmakers from our screening block today to talk a little bit about their process and their experiences as Black women who make films. So stay tuned. All right, let's start with my namesake, Nia June. Unmute yourself, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nia June. I am the director of Keep What You Sow, and I'm calling in from Baltimore, Maryland.
Awesome, thank you. We're going to go to the Hungry Medium. Introduce yourself, unmute yourself.
Hi, my name is Kat Nyambi. I am the Hungry Medium. I'm the producer of an animated music video called Don't Get Got.
Awesome. And then last but not least, my mother, Sheila. Unmute yourself, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Sheila Gaskins here, first-time filmmaker. I produced the film Ode to Beautiful Brianna, and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
All right. So welcome, y'all. How's everybody feeling generally right now?
Woo!
Comfortable, yeah. Lovely,
awesome.
Lovely.
Okay, the first question that I have, and anyone can start, is what made you become interested in being a filmmaker?
All right, now, y'all.
I can start. I was going to start by saying I don't know what I'm doing here, quite frankly. This is almost like a dream, you know. You know, when you're a kid, you look at movies, you imagine, you know, I love movies growing up, but I never imagined that I was a filmmaker until now, to be quite honest. You know, you just manifest what you want in life, you put your imagination in some form of media, and then you can become an artist, you can become a chef. And now in this iteration, in this time, I'm a filmmaker. So it's just something that I've always loved and wanted to do and never imagined I would do. And now I'm doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I've been doing art for quite some time, and a writer and a playwright and a stand-up and a visual artist, and my daughter makes films. So I was like, hey, maybe one time I could present, and the opportunity became something, and so I'm a filmmaker now. Ow.
um, yeah, that's a tough question. I think that I was inspired by writing because I was well, I'm a dancer first, then a writer, and then I got into film. And I think, you know, dancing and writing are both, you know, their own language, and film really helps bring them alive. I loved seeing how my words pair with different images and just what different images say. And similar, I was, when growing up, I was obsessed with movies as well. I didn't realize it, how much I loved it more than other people. Like coming home from middle school, the only thing I would do was sit in front of the TV and watch like every music video there was. And, you know, so it was always there hidden. But again, my other art forms kind of like pushed me into filmmaking. So here I am.
Awesome. This panel is interesting because so many of a lot we get a lot of like people, a lot of different filmmakers from different backgrounds, nationalities. But this specific panel, you all are interdisciplinary artists. You all are not necessarily solely filmmakers. Nia, we've had the pleasure to kind of like watch your career from like what I feel is the beginning, I believe. And you're really like creating a lane for yourself, but I do know you as like a poet primarily. And so my next question is, you kind of all started to go there, but if you could just talk more about how your other art practices inform your vision as a director or as a producer or as a filmmaker.
Well, I'll start. So the whole Ode to Beautiful Brianna, it was something that I tried to avoid that whole situation when it came out in the media. And I was like, I'm not going to participate because it's so many. And then I read the transcript about what happened. And they said that it happened in a hallway and that she had knocked on a door and said, "Who is it?" to the police, and they never responded. And so that that distills that myth of being in the bed type situation. And so there's a wonderful dancer named Chantel, and Nia, you know about the beautiful hallway that it's shot in, and we just put the poem to dance in the hallway, and it became something really extra and something really beautiful, and I'm proud of it.
So how would you say that your other backgrounds as like a comedian or a facilitator, how has that informed what that specific film looks like?
Yeah, so it all started with a poem. And I write poems about everything, everybody, all situations, and I rhyme. I probably could be a rapper if I thought about it, but that's down the pike. But yeah, so it started with the poem first, and it starts with writing first, and then all the other things came into view after that.
Okay. Anyone else want to share?
I'd love to share. This first official endeavor is a result of me being a spiritual reader and activist. And, you know, I'm also from Brooklyn. I'm originally from Brooklyn, you know, and I love repping Brooklyn in terms of, you know, just being having that hard edge. But what we noticed in social media, meaning me and other spiritual readers like myself, is that people were getting scammed on, you know, social media, people were offering them readings and things of that nature. They were copycatting our accounts. So I just happened, to use the term, well, people are getting got, and then it was just like, well, don't get got. And then that turned into some sort of gospel hymn that I created. And then someone said, let's make a song. And then someone said, let's make a video. And that's how it all came to fruition. It was all came from this, taking something really negative and then trying to offer a message to the masses.
So I'd say I think the biggest thing I've learned from having other disciplines is that everybody speaks a different language. So if they may not be into the poetry, maybe they're into the music, or maybe they're into the dancing, or maybe it's the images. So I try to incorporate all of those things all the time in whatever I do, so that as many people as possible can connect with it on like an emotional or spiritual level, whatever medium speaks to them the best. Um, so I, with my other two films, there's a lot of dancing involved, a lot of music. This film, Keep What You Sow, is a documentary, which I don't really do, but I really love this film. And there's no dancing, there's no poetry, but I feel like the poetry is still there and the dancing is still there with the way that the music is. Brandon Woody did the music, and he is one of the most amazing musicians in Baltimore. Like, he's really of our time. He's really incredible. And I feel like he brought so much of that feeling, like what these other art disciplines bring to you, that emotion. And so does Kirby with the way that he shoots. So I just try to keep that in mind. Like, how can I connect to people using the different art disciplines?
For me, Nia, it's all the same to me. Dance, art, visual art, music, all of those hyphens are is art. And I
Yeah,
think we are all art, and we've always been art.
yeah.
And it's no difference. It's no difference to me.
All right. I wanted to say shout out to Kirby Griffin. We love Kirby. Okay, so this block defining black is a screening block that we've had since like inception. Every year we have a block dedicated to defining blackness, defining femininity. And so, in your own words, can you tell us a little bit about how your film defines blackness or is in conversation with what it means to be black?
Well, I'd like to jump in there because we as a people, we've especially us here in the United States, we deal with a lot of undercurrents of racism. But one thing we can always come to as a people is our culture. I see Black as a culture, and that culture could be Ghanaian, that culture could be Jamaican, that culture could be, people from the South. Wherever you are, how they say, everywhere you go, there you are. And we find similarities in the travels that we do. We can always find those similarities, right? So I often think about, Don't Get Got is being, that representation, because everyone understands an older woman giving them guidance. Everyone understands an older Black woman teaching them a lesson, whether it's from a stoop or a porch. Um, and we all understand sort of, this concept of mediumship, or, it could be obey a woman or whatever. We all have it. It could be an evangelist in church. So I just wanted to use that figure of an older, wiser Black woman schooling people on, the merits of being more discerning.
Thank you. Who's next?
I'll go. So it's always something beautiful in blackness. And as harsh as our life is, and horrible and unfair and just ain't right, there's always something beautiful in in between all of that. Gospel music, it was a result of them in the field singing. And I remember reading about a white person who just heard it, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. And so with that struggle, there's some beauty. And so for Ode to Beautiful Brianna, that dance is such a testament to applauding her life. And even though those circumstances were so ugly and so unfair, there's some beauty in that. We fall up, I guess. You ever heard that expression, when you fall up?
No.
Y'all
So
want me to sing that? Y'all want me to sing that gospel?
Blackness is so multidimensional. I think I tried to communicate some of what the definition is to me in the film, with community. I think community is a big part of Blackness. You know, I don't think that we're meant to be alone at all. And I think, as she mentioned before, with culture, like, community shows up in many different ways, but it can really be familiar where we go. So one of the questions that we asked each of the entrepreneurs, the four in the film, was why they stay in Baltimore, because it's not really a place people want to be. A lot of people, it gets a bad rep. They say it's not good to like set up shop here. A lot of people come here and take things and then grow it somewhere else. So that was one of the questions we asked them, like, why do you continue to serve this community? And I feel like that's a quality that Black people have, is to continue serving their communities and being, you know, planting seeds in your own community and staying there and taking up root. I think things outside of that is, you know, linked to whiteness, in my opinion, you know, capitalism and things like that. So I think that's how we tried to communicate it, like, show these communities that don't really receive a lot of love, and the people that are in it who love it and are providing something that the community needs. Like, we look at a hardware store that has been there since the 80s, I believe. It haven't gone anywhere. It's been passed down to the daughter, and it still feels like it's been there. It feels like it's been there for decades, you know. So that's how I feel like we tried to communicate Blackness, which is so multifaceted. It can be hard to do, and it can also feel like it's a bit of a weight to have to communicate something that's so grand as being Black. But yeah, community is that's my long answer. Community is the way that I try to articulate Blackness.
Thank y'all. Yeah, this year's Defining Black was so interesting to me. Although I wasn't the programmer, Angela is our wonderful programmer. But Nia, with your piece specifically, I thought about like the role of labor in being Black, and how Baltimore historically is a city built on folks owning their labor in ways that outside of the America was not, outside of this specific city in like the colonial times wasn't necessarily as seen. And so I'm also thinking about what you said about older Black women being knowledgeable and people just kind of accepting that wisdom, probably just from the fact that she's an older woman. And I think it's really interesting that, because I haven't been scammed, but I follow a lot of spiritualists, so I know what's going on. And it really is like people are just seeing an older Black woman virtually or a persona and just assuming that this is what it is. And so a part of that is a bit of like discernment, right? Like Blackness is also about figuring out how to discern who's your friend and who's not your friend, because ultimately that's how a lot of us got here. And that's a whole other conversation.
Exactly.
And then even to, you know, beautiful Brianna, which I was watching both of the shorts today, and I thought about what some news that recently came out about Brianna's whole situation was that her house was targeted. Like, she was killed kind of incidentally as a part of a larger like con to get the land. And so it kind of made me sad as I was watching Don't Get Got, because I'm like, technically Breonna Taylor like got scammed. She got conned, and her life was, you know, it wasn't just money, or it's not just reputation, or sometimes it's your emotions if you're catfished or whatever. It's like it was her literal life, because people decided that they wanted to take the land that she lived on.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's devastating when you think about like all of those things, and how they're connected to what being Black means. And so, and again, each year is different. this year felt very like felt like a commentary on like capitalism at the end of the day, in a very indirect way,
Absolutely.
between the ways
Absolutely.
that we ourselves have been capital, we have been tools of capital, and we have been in the way of other people getting capital. So
But also, a result of capitalism is the FOMO, right? The
mhm.
American dream. And that FOMO is one of the number one reasons people get scammed.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for, creating your works and allowing us to kind of put them together in a way that makes us think a little bit differently about who we are as a people right now. I'm going to switch it up a bit and ask about like process and craft. What was the process of imagining the story from writing to seeing it on screen, and what were some of the more challenging or surprising part of the process for you?
Well, I'll jump in. So again, the poem was out way before the film. And the poem was so devastating. Like I was reading it to people online and they were like, they couldn't catch their breath. And I was like, wow, this is a really very, very strong poem. Um, and and then knowing how the incident really happened just just made me think of dancing and like fairy tales, or what are those, like fairies type of situations, and sleeping and all of that became a subject, and then it just unfolded. So that poem was what stuck out the most.
Was there anything hard or surprising about the process of making the film?
The process wasn't hard. The editing was hard, and we know that was hard, don't we? um, no, because I had a great filmmaker, Tariq, photographer, and it just all came to be. The weather was appropriate. Everything was just, we shot three things on one day, and it just all came to be. The editing is extreme. That's all I'll say about that.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, Mine started as being upset with people for getting got because, I had people in my DMs, just asking me, is this you? Is this you? And telling me stories about how they got scammed from a person that they thought several different people. And then I just had a download one day and I just recorded the download. And as I said, the song was as a result as well. Like I said, it started as almost like a hymn, a spiritual, like, a Black spiritual. And then it was just a matter of curating who could provide music, and then curating who I would ask, because the real artist in this for this music video is the animator. In my opinion, she did an amazing job. Young woman, Asante Wa, from North Carolina, via Merida, Mexico. Um, she just came up with this. I told her the vision and she decided, what the woman would look like. We storyboarded it together. But it was all a curation of beautiful Black talent out there. And it just all came together, everyone using their creative gifts to contribute to this anthem of sorts. And there wasn't really anything difficult, it just flowed so wonderfully. And I just know it's going to be something even bigger as we continue to do part two, part three, and part four, and to infinity.
My film was commissioned by this. It's called The Medicine Show. It's a program where they combine entrepreneurs with artists, and then they have the artists tell the story of the entrepreneur. So this past February, they did a
You're frozen, Nia. We can't hear you. Okay, you're back. I think you're muted. Unmute yourself. Can you say something? We can't hear you.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. My connection was acting funny. Okay. But yeah, so basically I think the process was figuring out what story we wanted to tell through these business owners. And you know, we came up with this idea of having resource and then having someone use the resource. So we started off with a hardware store, then we go to a welding artist. And then we went to a thrift shop, and then we went to an artist who customizes sneakers. So we tried to kind of show like this string of connection throughout our community and how it can look and how we can kind of use each other to grow. And I think the most difficult part was I've never done a documentary. So I think that was the most difficult part for me, like figuring out how I can put my style into a form that I don't generally play with. And still like making it make sense at the same time. And you know, also identifying the people. I think that we ended up with some really, really dope, amazing entrepreneurs who really are born and raised here and really care about the city. So I think we went with great options, but that was difficult too because we just wanted it to feel right. And we were also on a deadline. My other two films, I don't do deadlines. So this was also new for me because I had to figure out how to like really get creative and also stay within the margins and really work with the time. So I think I learned a lot of new things with this film, I'll say.
Awesome. All right. Thank y'all. Okay, I think I have one final question. Um, how has the pandemic affected your art practice or like your crafts? And you can start with filmmaking, but if you found that you actually have not necessarily been making film, anything that you feel is a craft for you, how has it been to just try to create or keep creating or resist creating or whatever your relationship to creation is these past, I guess, 3 years now?
Well, for me, the pandemic was a, a blessing in disguise for me because as a mother who worked 9 to 5 forever, I finally had the opportunity to get paid to be home. And I always, as I think about it, that was my dream, like in the 6th grade. Like I always wanted to marry somebody rich or be a stay-at-home mom. Like I really wanted that in the 4th grade because I saw so many stay-at-home moms. And so this opportunity to sit home and to create and to do stuff on Zoom is just like television. So those are the dreams that I was having as a little child to have my own show. And so the Zoom became a vehicle to do that type of thing. And I've been doing a lot of writing and I've been doing a lot of thinking and eating well. And to the point now that going out is like I'm a little scared about going out now. But my whole creative process has increased because of the pandemic. And we were able to do shows online and people were able to get paid instantly and able to connect with people in London and all over in Africa and stuff. So um, that has been helpful. And it's sad about those that we lost during that time because that is a real thing. But just to be able to sit still is, as a Black woman, is something that I didn't think I would ever have the opportunity to do. And it was awesome. Checking out.
Yeah, I agree, Michelle. By going in the house, it actually expanded the universe for me. The reach, the people I've met from all over the world, the people I've been in discourse with, and the people I've actually helped through my spiritual practice has expanded dramatically in the past 3 years, past 2 or 3 years. Um, so yes, we are looking at great change, which is also the only constant, as my daughter likes to tell me. Um, and that is what has kept me motivated. The dramatic change that we've been through has, been the only constant in my life is the change right now. And the change has sparked great creative passion, projects, outlooks, mindsets for me and a lot of the people in my life.
I agree. I agree with both of you. I think it was definitely a time of being still and resting. Um, it gave me a lot more time to think really and to clear my head because the world was, especially in the very beginning. I mean, nobody was on the road even. Nobody was taking walks really. So it was really good quiet time, I think. It's so much chaos and it's so loud. I think the way that it negatively impacted my creative process was the way that uh, what social media became over the pandemic. I think that it's very easy to kind of get wrapped up in social media and then also kind of it can be a distraction almost in a way because you're so bored if you're not using that time right. So I do feel like at times my creative process was interrupted a little bit. But it's a fine line. I definitely had more time. My cinematographer is really busy, so because of that pandemic, we were able to get a lot done because, as you know, like Hollywood was kind of shut down. Not a lot of people were filming. So, um, but yeah, I think you guys said it beautifully. Like that stillness and that rest was, everything that I needed. I think as a creative.
All right. Well said, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your work and sharing your thoughts about your work. Do you have any last thoughts for us? Anything for us to know about what you're working on next, where we can keep up with you? Just parting words now.
I'd like to say hi again, but I also want to say thank you. I mean, gratitude expanded to the third power. um, there's no more I can say in terms of that. I have a website, thehungrymedium.com. This project had initially begun as, believe it or not, an NFT. The end result in my mind was for it to be an NFT, and it still can. But I just want to thank you so much for even accepting the short. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the films in the festival this year.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that, and thank you too, Nia, for the opportunity.
Did I have a choice? I don't think I had a choice.
Oh man, she was like, "Ma, you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. No, don't cut me out. No, Nia, no." Yeah, it's been a wonderful ride, and I'm glad to share this with you. I'm going to be. I'm working. We just got a grant to do puppets, masks, and crankies, which is a storytelling art form, and so we are challenged to go into underrepresented communities to teach kids how to make puppetry, or anybody how to make puppetry. And so we're going to have hopefully a big thing in October or September where we'll have some puppet folk and we have some work that the children developed, and we will be talking about masks and crankies. And so that's coming up down the pike. And then there's this play called You Thought I Was Him, which will be at the Arena Playhouse November the 11th and 12th that weekend. And it's about, it's all male cast, and it's about police brutality and men having their say. And I'm a principal writer for it. So I'm excited about that. And then there's always My Mother the Clown, which hopefully we will continue to create that, Nia. Okay.
No
And
pressure.
I'm Sheila Gaskins. Hit me up on Facebook, but don't be dropping in my DMs because I experienced that the other day. And I was like, oh, that's what this is. Okay. Um, and then I have an organization called Art Partide. It's a Facebook organization. And we talk about race and racism and white supremacy in the arts. So please check that out. Thank you. Thanks, Nia. Oh, I'm trying to.
Yeah, thank you, Nia. Thank you for your continued support over the years. I love the festival, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. Just thank you for all that you're doing for us local filmmakers. And yeah, I have two other films out. I would love if you guys could watch those. One of them is on YouTube. It's called A Black Girl's Country, and another is not out officially because it's in a couple film festivals, but it will be available to watch in Baltimore in March of next year. And then I have a book called Paper Trails of the Undying, so you could just go to niajune.com and keep in touch with me.
Awesome. What a talented bunch we are here. So yeah, the festival is September 4th through September 10th. All screening blocks are live at the same time. We will have one free watch party Sunday, September 4th in the evening. We will be screening Gotta Make This Journey, a documentary about Sweet Honey in Iraq, as we believe that their work is kind of the epitome of nourishment. And we will be having a community conversation afterwards. Tickets are on sale for the festival now at bfsfilmfest.com, or you can go to Eventbrite and search us and find our tickets there. And yeah, this is our 5th year, our 3rd year in the pandemic, and we're changing. We're going through a lot of changes, but we're always super grateful to be here to capture filmmakers at different points in their stories. All of these panels will live on our YouTube page. So, we've kind of crafted a really cool archive of Black queer filmmakers, which I'm really, really proud of. That was something that kind of was a blessing in disguise from the pandemic, because now we just have so much of these types of conversations, which is really, really important when it comes to the craft of filmmaking and history as well. So, yeah, hopefully folks stick around when you're watching this. As you're watching your screening blocks, feel free to purchase an all-day pass or all access pass, or just watch another screening block, because every little bit helps us a lot. So thank you, and we'll see you again soon.